of that inspiration is a family story of abuse, pain, and hardship, including child sexual abuse and incarceration. Can you share some of your life story and how it connects to this topic?
Yes, absolutely, yes. And thank you so much for having us today. This is amazing.
It's our pleasure.
Bringing this topic to the forefront and having people discuss it, it's super important and super needed. So it's a blessing to be here. My brother, Tony Brown, is actually the owner and founder of Maverick City Music. We are 10 years apart, and he is the oldest and I'm the youngest out of our 4 siblings. When he was born, my mother was not fit to take care of him, so he moved in with my grandparents. My other siblings actually moved in with other relatives that we had, and then I was the baby. And when I was born, it was my mom's, another chance for her to be a mom, and she did the best that she could, given her addictions and her circumstances. The first time my brother met my mom was actually at a prison visit through the glass. That was his first time meeting our mother. And for me, growing up with her, we lived in hotels, abandoned apartments, halfway houses, and being in those environments and in those communities exposed me personally to the trauma of abuse, drugs, sex at an early age, all of those issues that we're talking about today. I've seen those things firsthand, and if it wasn't for the grace of God in my life and creative outlets in my life and my brother's life, I'd be in prison, I'd be dead, I'd be in the same system. But we made it out by the grace of God. So just providing those outlets for people in this season is really big on our hearts. Living with my grandparents, even in a different environment than it was with my mom, a more Caucasian environment, those problems still exist in those environments as well. So I don't think it's not a black thing, it's not a white thing. No. It's a humanity thing. It's a sin problem. Yeah. And bringing those issues to the forefront. As Maverick City Music, that's big on our heart. We want to be a part of the conversation. We want to use our platform to make our audience and our demographic aware of what's going on, because a lot of people, they pretend like it's not happening. But if we can put it in their face and say, this is what's happening, it gives our demographic a chance to act on it. Yeah.
Well, you hit on something really important. In researching, there are no socioeconomic, indicators for child sexual abuse. I kind of tested the stats myself and just started asking different people and bringing up the conversation. And when you bring up the conversation, because it's not a conversation that people willingly typically share, but if you bring up the conversation, it's really interesting. The 1 in 5 is true. Yeah. It's very true. I've tested it myself and find it interesting that of the individuals who have shared their stories, they all come from very different backgrounds. Yeah. Some were in situations similar to yours, but others came from what general society would think is a normal environment with access to all the resources that you could imagine, and it still happened. So I don't think people listening, our listeners may think, oh, we didn't know that. But if they just ask around, these are our friends, our neighbors, our family members, our colleagues. You just don't know that they're walking around with the burden that they carry until you actually open a door and allow them to have a conversation.
And that's it, Linda, is there, these communities and these families, there is secrets. It's like we have these secrets in the background, and even as the church, we have to portray ourselves as a way of, we have it all together, and, we're sinless and we have no problems. But the reality is, like you mentioned, a lot of these families, even in the church, struggle with this kind of trauma and this issue. So it's very important us as the body of Christ, and as the church to do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.